Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the March 29th edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, and I'm joined by Big Marcel over there in the Netherlands. What's going on, big man? How's it going?
What's up, man? Going well. Going all good. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. Another great card in the weekend, UFC 260 in the books. No UFC this week, Marcel, by the way. Might as well mention off the top. Tomorrow, there's not a preview podcast, but Marcel's going to join me. We'll figure out something to talk about, Marcel. There's always something to talk about, so we'll find something to talk about. And on Thursday, AJ Shula will be joining me. We're going to break down Bellator, me and AJ, on Thursday. But we'll probably end up talking about Bellator tomorrow too, especially their rankings, which we will probably get into today. I know Marcel's got some strong opinions potentially about those rankings, so that'll be fun to talk about. But we got to go through this card, man. I mean, UFC 260, right? Like, pretty solid card. Now, picks-wise, Marcel, I actually had a good week for once. I think this is the first week I beat you, so I went 9-1. I think a lot of people thought Bukowskis won. I think I could have went 10-0, man. I thought he won that fight too. It was a close fight, but you know, if you look at the media rankings, like almost everyone thought he won the fight. It was close, but it could have been a 10-0 night. I know Nick Kalikas went 10-0, our big boss man. He got all his picks right. I think Mike's MMA picks also went 10-0. So there were some people that had some really big nights, Marcel. I know you had some maybe not some great picks this week, but I'm sure you'll bounce back on the next card. Yeah, but you'll bounce back. I mean, you were in the lead for like the first month pretty much in the rankings, the staff rankings. So I think we're both I think actually we're tied now, if I'm not mistaken. I was looking at it today. I was trying to calculate the numbers. We might be tied now. So we still got 9 months left, man. So many more fights to pick. So lots of time to get through those. But
like I told you before, as long as I don't get last place, I'm all good.
Dude, I was second last year, so I was like, please don't be in last. I tried so hard not to be. I think Cole ended up being last by like 1 point. It was really close last year. So it is what it is. I mean, everyone that's in the staff pool is definitely good at picking fights. So let's go through the fights, man. And let's start with the main event. Let's start with it. Francis Ngannou. I got this one right. You know, I thought he'd make those improvements, and we saw them in the fight. Not only did we know that he was going to have the more power on the feet, but he showed improved wrestling, which was the biggest key for me. Like, that was really impressive to see him sprawl in that takedown attempt, Marcel. And then not only that, but basically take down Miocic himself, throw the leg kicks. We've never seen that from Francis. Throw a high kick. When have we ever seen that from Francis? And then obviously knock out Stipe. And show a lot of patience too, Marcel, not going out in the first round and blowing his load, but going to the second round and winning the fight. I was obviously really impressed by his performance. Talk about the knockout, man. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah, like I said, man, I picked Miocic to win the fight. I didn't expect Francis to keep his patience and to sprawl a takedown and that kind of stuff. You know, I didn't expect that at all. So when he did that, I was like, yeah, there's going to be probably a tough night for Stipe. And yeah, Stipe made a mistake, man. He got caught, tried to catch Francis, and he thought he caught him. And then he went forward without any defense, and he got got a hammer in his face, and then he got a hammer when he was on the ground already out. So, yeah, good performance by Francis. What else can we say, right? And Stipe, yeah, he will probably take some time off, right? I was happy to see that he was doing well.
Yeah.
And man, what a classy guy, man. In his, he always is. And again, you know, with a statement that came out like 4 or 5 hours ago, I think. Yeah, what can I say? How can you not love Stipe, right? And now Francis is a guy the UFC definitely wants as a champ, you know, and he deserves it. You know, he got that knockout power that thing that some heavyweights have, that you have to only get one shot in your face and you're done, you know, and Ngannou has that power. You know, so very marketable as well, I think, also for the casual fans, not just for the hardcore fans, but for the casual fans as well. So it turns out to be good for the UFC. Ngannou deserved it, so all credits to him, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have both guys to talk about here. Let's say Francis for 1 second, because there's a lot to talk about with Francis and John Jones, but let's talk about Stipe quickly. What's next for him? That's the biggest question, right? Because he's coming off a brutal knockout loss. He's going to turn 39 this year. He could retire. He could stay at heavyweight and fight someone else. I don't think he's getting an immediate rematch, which sucks because he probably deserves it based on what 100%. He did, but he won't get it because there's other options. The other option, Derek Brunson threw this out there, 205 pounds. I'm not sure if he can make that weight, but he only came in at 234. He's not that much bigger than like a guy like Alexander Rakic, who weighs about 240 and cuts to 205. From what he said. Having said that, Stipe's 39 years old, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, Alexander Rakis is a little bit younger than Stipe, right? It's
He's
hard
10 years
when you get
younger.
older to
Exactly.
cut down like that, you know. And
Yeah.
if you always fought at 260, another 265 at a heavyweight, you know, and didn't fight at 205, it's hard, I think, you know. I mean, it's not DC. DC was like a big light heavyweight, you know, and Stipe is like not a big heavyweight, but just in the middle of it. Like Junior Dos Santos was also always a
Yeah.
235 ish, and you know what I mean. But I think the fight that probably makes the most sense right now is a fight with Curtis Blades. That's likely I don't know if Stipe wants that fight. I'm pretty sure Curtis wants that fight, but that's what makes most sense. But it depends on when Stipe comes back. You know, if Stipe
Yeah.
comes back over in a year, and let's say Ngannou fights, you know, and he fights John Jones, and for example he loses. I don't say he will, but for example he loses, and then John Jones fights against Derek Lewis, and Derek Lewis loses as well, and then there is no option anymore. Or there's Blades maybe, but maybe there's no option. Or
Yeah.
Gan is maybe further in his career. I don't know, but then Miocic still can fight. You know, you don't know what's happening. You don't know what the UFC wants. You don't know what Miocic wants. So it's really hard, I think.
I hope this isn't the end of his career. I still think he has something to give the sport. You know, like he just
Yeah,
came off 2 wins over Cormier. Like he's not written off yet. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, sorry, I keep interrupting you, man. What the hell were the people saying like he has to retire right now?
I know. I don't like it either. You know, it's like one fight, and it's not only that, but it's like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I should say. People were like really on the fence on this fight. Like most people were, you know, split down the middle. It was basically a 50-50 fight. You know.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden Stipe sucks. Like it makes no sense to me. I know he got knocked out. I thought he would get knocked out, but I don't think he should retire necessarily. If he wants to retire, that's one thing, but I don't think he should be forced to. You know what I mean? Like if he wants to though, then I would support it. Obviously, I don't think he wants to retire though. Based on his comments, it's like he wants to take a few months off, relax, recover, spend time with his family. But having said that, he is 39, turning 39, I should say. So realistically, he probably only does have 1 or 2 fights left. But in a year from now, Marcel, when he comes back, if he does come back, there will be other fights for him available. New fights will emerge. Right now, there's no point in even really talking about it. Let's talk about the other side of the coin. Let's talk about Francis now, okay? Let's get into Francis. I got to be honest, man. Dana White's comments really, really surprised me. You know, he's throwing a lot of fighters under the bus, but it didn't make sense to throw John under the bus. That's the fight you want to promote. You're saying he's scared and then he wants to go to 185 now? He was the one. Dana White was the one telling John, move up to heavyweight, go for another belt. I want you to do this. Dana was the one who said John Jones was getting the winner of this fight. And now he's like, oh, he's scared of him, doesn't want to fight him. Yeah, listen, guys, it's all about contract negotiations. That's all it comes down to, Marcel. It comes down to the money. But John Jones seems really pissed off, guys. And he's on Twitter today. He deleted his tweets, Marcel, but I got them. Please cut me. He said, please cut me. Let me go. I feel really disrespected by the organization. I can't blame the guy for feeling that way. He is the greatest fighter of all time. I know the PED thing, guys. Fair enough. You want to call him number 2 to GSP? Fair enough. But to me, John's the best fighter I've ever seen in my life. He's the greatest fighter ever. And for Dana White to make those comments was pretty disrespectful, I thought. So give me your thoughts on that. I'm going to get to these comments in the chat in a second, guys. I just want to get Marcel's thoughts on Dana White kind of throwing John under the bus there, gaslighting him.
Dana White should change his name and full of shit. You know, I mean, the dude always spits bullshit all the time. You know, he obviously was saying like Derek Lewis should be next for Ngannou because he doesn't want to pay Jones any more money. That's pretty obvious. And I mean, you can make a case Derek Lewis deserves a title shot. I don't have a problem with it. You know, but from a selling point, what Dana always says, from a selling point, you know. From a selling point, that won't do any great numbers, I think, for the simple reason that many people have still that first fight in their mind between Lewis and Ngannou. I don't say it will go the second time the same way, probably not. But Jones against Ngannou is such a bigger fight.
I just don't understand why he started promoting Lewis. I don't get it at all. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a good fight, but not when Jones. If he had beaten Jones, then it's like, okay, Lewis is next in line. But this is the fight to make. Like, this is the biggest fight in UFC history, I think. I think it's the biggest fight they could make. I really do.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. This is 2 million pay-per-views, guys. So John's right. He said something yesterday about, it's a great quote, actually. He said, spend a little to make a lot. It's a great quote, you know? It's true. Dana White, they can give him, I don't know what John wants for this fight, but I guarantee you, that whatever they pay him, it's not enough because MMA fighters don't get paid enough. And I just think that they're blowing it if they don't make this fight because John wants to fight. It's clear he wants to fight. Go ahead.
If you can put $1 million on Ben Askren defeating Jake Paul, you can give the fighters more money. This is a huge fight, man. How much you think the UFC will make when they put on this fight? A lot. You know what I mean? And they are back with they're gonna go with fans again, right? And full crowds. So I really don't understand it, man. It's just stupid, man. And they're really cutting in his own fingers here, I think, Dana, man. I don't know why he does that or whatever, but
I just don't get it. Like, there's always the flavor of the week, and Francis is the new flavor. You know, I get it, but you didn't need to throw John under the bus. I'm not defending John. It just didn't make sense to me because you would want to promote that fight and be like, guys, this is the fight. We're going to do John Jones. Like, this is the biggest fight of all time. Like, that's what fans wanted to hear. It wasn't, he's scared, but we're going to get Derek Lewis in there. And don't get me wrong, Derek Lewis is a good fight. I'd like to see the rematch because the first fight obviously wasn't very good, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Go ahead.
But we said John Jones is scared, and you're stupid if you say that with John Jones is scared. I mean, the guy is arguably the best mixed martial artist ever. I mean, you can argue he's maybe 2 or 3, but definitely top 3. You know what I mean? And also, man, people are like, Ngannou is going to destroy him. Listen, man, the guy, you gotta understand the last 2 fights of him against Reyes and against Santos. I don't think John was really motivated. You know?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
either.
Exactly. Yeah, and this is a different challenge, a new challenge, a heavyweight belt on the line against a very dangerous opponent. You know, so I think John will be different in this fight. You know, there will be a different challenge here.
Yeah, bro, this is to me is like one of the most intriguing fights they could ever make. Like, it's such a great fight. Like, I want to see these guys fight so bad. I'd rather see them fight in the big cage, by the way. I think for Jones's game with the way he moves, I think it'd be better in the bigger cage, which they would do with fans. They wouldn't do the small cage. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get some comments here, guys. All right, let's start with this one from Straight Wager. Francis hit Stipe with everything through jabs, hooks, uppercuts. Man, he looked amazing. Like, it was. I had a feeling he was going to show some new skills in this fight, guys, but man, that was really impressive. Kevin, the big loser of these last 2 pay-per-views is Jones. He wanted to either Izzy at 205 or Stipe at 265. He gets neither. No chance he wants Francis heavyweight. Man, I don't agree. I think he does want the fight. Like, I really do, you know? But we'll see if it happens. Go ahead.
Jones is so much more complete than Francis Ngannou as a fighter, man. I don't understand why people say Jones will lose to him.
Because it's all recency bias, bro. It's recency bias. Whatever you see lately.
But it's dead as stupid, man. Mm-hmm. Use your mind. You know what I mean? And it's not to this comment, by the way, but it's just in general. You know what I mean? Yep. Of course, Francis can knock him out. Of course, but you got to look a little bit further than just. It's the same thing with Kevin Holland against Derek Brunson in a different way. Also, people will say bumps in here and he can't win and this and that. Man, he
2 checks, Brunson. 2 checks. Yeah. Let's get these comments. Yeah. Marcus messaged me today and he said he wanted to ask this. Okay, so let's go for it, Marcus. Mm-hmm. If Derek Lewis has a win over Francis and calls Maki Kawa, who also manages Jones, and says to call Dana White to lobby for him to fight Francis next, what do you think Kawa does? That's a great question because they represent both the guys that are probably going to fight Francis next, either Lewis or Jones. What do you do if you're Kawas? I think you would try to get the bigger fight, quite frankly. I think you would try to do that John Jones fight. So I think that's what they want to do. Marcel, you still there? Looks like he's froze on us, guys. Unless I'm the one frozen. Hopefully that's not me. Marcel, you there? Okay, you froze.
Yeah, man. What's up?
No, you froze for a second. Okay. Your finger was on the camera. It was weird. Kenshiro says, I told everyone 3 years ago Ngannou would beat Stipe in a rematch. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's just age, man. Age is an unfair game in life, you know. Father time's undefeated. That's what they always say. Kevin's just going to reply to his comment. He said, I'm not saying Jones wouldn't have a chance. I'm just saying the way he managed his career. I agree, but I mean, he's on Twitter saying, I want the fight, cut me because you're disrespecting me. Like, you guys really, like, do people really think he wants to get cut because he's scared of fighting for? I mean, he's fought everyone, man. He's fought, like, you know what I'm going to do right now? Let's do this. I'm going to show you guys something, okay?
He no disrespect to Francis, but he fought bigger challenges, man, at light heavyweight. And maybe this is the biggest challenge at heavyweight. Yeah. But he fought more accomplished fighters at light heavyweight, man.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Kevin, you said Kevin, I'm not saying you said he was scared what Dana did. Look who he's fought, guys. He's fought literally the best fighters in the world for the last 10 years. Like, these are the best fighters in the world. And I know a lot of them are old now, but at the time they were the best fighters in the world. And he beat them all. He smashed them all except for Matt Hamill's head of steel. But I mean, this is impressive. It's an incredible resume. And this Jones right here in 2011, this guy that I was at that fight in Toronto where he submitted Machida, that was like the height of his career. I was at that fight in Toronto too where he beat her, and I was at the fight where he beat Gustafsson. I mean, that was the greatest fight of all time. Like, that's the greatest fight of all time. He was half of that fight. Like, the greatest fight in MMA history. He's not scared of anyone, guys. He wants to get paid fairly. And I hope the UFC pays him. There was a story that came out the other day about the Reebok deal. It's over now, right? They had been paid $70 million. They only gave up $39 million. What happened to the other $31 million, Marcel? That was all supposed to go to the fighters. So use that money, give it to John. Give him the $31 million, and that's it. Let's get some more comments here. Daniel, hey, how's it going, man? He says, UFC business model has done a great job of eradicating the elite moneymakers. Seems like it caters to the middle class. ESPN stream money's so consistent. Dana post, yeah, they're making a lot of money now. You're right. That's a good point, actually, Daniel. They have a lot more guaranteed money now than they used to. That's a great point. Kenshiro, Jones wants 25 to fight. Ngannou, UFC wants, yeah, they want to pay him like probably $5 million. I think I heard 20 million. I don't know if that's true, but like that seems reasonable, doesn't it? Like, guys, like that's super reasonable. Like, look how much boxers make, Marcel, like the top boxers. They make like almost 100 million, some of these guys. So to me, like 20 million's underpaid, if anything.
It's funny. The UFC want to say they want to grow the sport, but they don't want to grow the pay. You know
they don't want to grow the pay. It's the worst part of that, and the weight cutting are two things that really bother me about the sport: the low pay and the weight cutting. Mm-hmm. Daniel says, in fairness, none of us know the number John's asking for. That's true too. I mean, for what I heard, it was 20 million, but that could be wrong. Maybe he's asking for 50 million, and Dana's like, I don't want to do that. I don't know, but I still think they're going to make the money back. You know. Kenshiro says Jones and Ngannou 88-12 money bet. I love how Nagano's minus 137 line. Yeah, but it's up now. It's like minus 200 something. It was like minus 137 the other day. Now it's up. And to be honest with you, I think, again, recency bias. Like, are we forgetting John Jones has never been an underdog except for his first fight against Andre Gusmao in his debut when he was like 19 or 20 years old? He's never been an underdog since then. So to me, it's like there's value on John Jones as an underdog just based on that alone. But I mean, I'm not saying I'm picking him, guys. I mean, I have to think about the fight, but I just think people are forgetting how great John Jones is. It's crazy. John Jones, the greatest ever, and they're forgetting Marcel. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but I always have to think about when people thinking like maybe John Jones not that great. Do you remember what Brandon Vera said pre-fight about John Jones? He's like, so now we're gonna see if the hype is real.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was perfect.
And Shiro's right though. It says that's what I said. I agree. 2 million pay-per-views. 2 million times $60 or $70. What is that? That's. I mean, you guys can do the math. I'm not good at math, but I mean, it seems like a lot of money, right? Glenn says this guy's picture always makes me laugh. He says Jones is moving up, so it's probably smarter for him to take a warm-up fight. That's the other thing. Like I kind of agree with that too, but at the same time, here's the risk involved. If you give him a warm, just say you warm him up against Derek Lewis, he might get knocked out, right? So like it's kind of risky, you know. I know what you're saying though. Damon says 25 million, no way. You know, I know you guys are saying like it might seem like a lot for MMA standards, but when you compare it to other pro sports, these guys are paid so little. It's crazy. Like 25 million is not a lot. Like there's really shitty like baseball players that make that much money. Like terrible basketball players that sit on the bench and play 5 minutes like a season and they get paid like $20 million, guys. Like Al Horford on the Thunder, they told him to go home. He gets paid $30 million a year. They said just train at the practice facility. You don't even have to play anymore. Like, it's crazy, man. And I understand the NBA is a bigger sport. I get it. But come on. Like, they got to pay these fighters more. And the fighters are starting to see it now, Marcel. They're starting to see, hey, we need to get a bigger piece of the pie. Mm-hmm. Kenshiro says Jones will be a favorite. Yeah, I mean, that's possible, too. I could definitely see, like, money coming in. I think Ngannou, he might close as a favorite if that fight does happen, though. I will say that. Marcus, what do you see is Jones' path to victory? Oh, for sure. Just staying on the outside and moving around and tiring Francis out. Probably winning a decision, if I had to guess. Like, kind of like how he beat Santos and Reyes. Just stay on the outside. You'll probably have to face some adversity. But Jones, by the way, Jones has an amazing chin. One of the greatest chins in MMA history. An iron chin. Like, he has an iron chin. He's never been hurt. I don't think he's ever been dropped. The only guy ever rocked him, I think, was Machida, where he hit him with a straight left. That was like 10 years ago. When does he ever get hit? He really doesn't. Reyes, yes, I would say hurt him a little bit, but I think Jones has an amazing chin. In a big cage, I would give Jones a bigger edge. In a smaller cage, is a tougher fight for him, but it looks like they're going to the big cage again, guys. So I think that does help John out. I really do. The cage matters, believe it or not. That does play a factor in these fights. Ken Sierra says 140 million plus ad sponsorship, Venom deals, ESPN monthly payments. let's be generous. Yeah, easily 200 million. They're making a lot of money, guys. I mean, I think you're being low, bro. I'm pretty sure. Marcus says Jones and France never sold over 1 million pay-per-view fight. That is true. Jones has never been like a massive pay-per-view needle, but the fights with Cormier did pretty well, and I think this fight would be big. It's just one of those fights, like you said, Marcel. It's not just for hardcore fans. Casual fans look at that poster and see Ngannou on it. He's so marketable, right? And then Jones, obviously, just everything speaks for itself, like the title defenses, all the records, everything. So, I mean, to me, that could do 2 million pay-per-views. I really do think it could. I think it easily breaks 1 million. Like, no doubt. Like, that's the bottom end. Anyways, I just want to see this fight personally, but it just looks like there's a lot of hiccups. Anyone else has anything else you guys want to say about this fight before we move on? Throw them into the chat. Anything else you want to say about Francis and Stipe or John Jones? Anything? Marcel, you there?
I mean, no, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, cool. Vicente Luque defeats Tyron Woodley. I told you not to pick Woodley, man. Why'd you do it? Don't pick Woodley. He's got nothing left, bro. He doesn't.
I disagree.
Dude,
I kind of disagree. He did very well, man.
How did he do well? I mean, he rocked Luque with one punch. That's all he did, man. He didn't do well.
I think he did pretty well, man. Until
it was a good fight. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I respect
him.
I respect it for going on the Shield. Like, he went in there and was like, let's win this fight. So I respect that. But Marcel, I'm not saying he can't beat guys. I think he could still. I don't think they should tell him to retire. Like Dana White was saying, he should retire. But I just think against a guy like Luque, he has no chance against a guy like that, man. I'm sorry, but at this point in his career, I can't see that fight going any other way. You know what
really shocked me? That they gave a fight of the night bonus for it.
It was a fun fight, but I thought they would do Azatar and Barrio because it was a 3-round fight, right? A lot of people thought that would be fight of the night, maybe. Or were you thinking 4 bonuses, eh?
Yeah, I expected bonuses because the UFC is not really a fan of Woodley, so
I know, but it was a great fight. It was one of those. It was like that Francisco Rivera and John Lineker fight. Remember that fight?
Yeah, that one round. Yeah,
like 2 minutes. And it was just amazing. Or like Cyborg and Amanda Nunes. Like just for as long as it lasted, it was amazing. So no problem with fighting. I think both guys. I mean, geez, Luque, man. Let's talk about Luque here. What's next for him? Because 9 of 10 wins now. Only lost to Wonder Boy. What are you thinking? Like, you call it Nate Diaz? Do you think that happens?
Nah, Michael Chiesa should be next for him.
That's what I was thinking too. If you look at the rankings, it makes sense. Chiesa.
It's the only one that makes sense. The others are either booked or they're not going to accept the fight against Luque. So Nate Diaz also not going to accept the fight. So I mean, Chiesa is probably the only fight that makes sense, and I like it, man. I mean, it's a good style matchup. I think for both guys, it's really good. So I would love to see it. And man, Luque did great, man. He got tagged Woodley. Woodley was pretty much almost out on his feet, and then he put it in the Darce choke.
Yeah,
and, he finished it. Great. And you saw Woodley tapped out, and actually he was already out while he tapped. So because he was literally out of it. So
I know.
It was a great performance by Luque, man. And for Woodley, I'd like to see Woodley, if he stays in the UFC, match him up against Robbie Lawler, a rematch.
Yeah, Kenshiro says he picked Woodley too, so he's like you, Marcel, but he can't take a punch. I still think he's got an okay chin, but I mean, yeah, he got rocked pretty bad. Luque's just really good, guys. I think it's more it was a bad matchup. I think Woodley can beat fighters, but UFC, it sounded like they're cutting him or releasing him or whatever. Maybe it's going to be a mutual thing where it's not like a straight cut. Maybe they'll give him a little bit more respect than they gave to Junior DeSantos. They just cut him and he found it on Twitter, I'm pretty sure, Marcel with Junior. Hopefully, at least Woodley gets that respect. He's a former champion as well. But the UFC, the way they do it, it's very ruthless, man. It's very heartless sometimes. And I mean, I said last week, Marcel, I said on this podcast, I was like, guys, next week I'm going to write the article. UFC cuts Tyron Woodley after 4 straight losses. Sounds like that's what's going to happen. Dana White didn't sound like he wanted him to stay around. Let's get some comments here. Kenshiro says, I want Usman versus Wonder Boy after Usman beats Horton. Yeah, Wonder Boy is such an interesting matchup, I think, personally. You're talking about Bellator. Yeah, I'm going to talk about tomorrow probably and Thursday with AJ. Thursday's going to be the full breakdown for Bellator 255. Today's a recap, but we will talk about the rankings a little bit because we'll try to. If not, we'll talk about them tomorrow. If you only knew, asked what's next for Stipe. We did talk about at the beginning of the podcast, man. We really think he's going to take some time off and just kind of reconsider everything. You know, I'm not convinced he's going to retire after this. I saw Joe Rogan said he's going to retire. I don't think so. I think he will fight again. I just don't know who it's going to be against. Here's a funny question. You guys see the drunk fan that said that Danny will fight for him soon. Yes, I did. I was just watching it today. Some drunk guy came in and was like, Dana, like he threw his business card down or something and was like, I want to fight for the UFC. So I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know what's going on with that guy. Maybe they'll put him on contender. You know what? Ultimate Fighter needs fighters, right? Put him in the Ultimate Fighter, whoever this guy is. Kevin, I think Woodley's contract's up, so no cut, just be re-signed. Just won't be re-signed. Yeah, they'll say it's released, but you're right. It's like contract's up. So Tyron Woodley fought sloppy by trying to get a quick knockout. He did, but he went on his shield, man. I respect that. He was going for the kill, man. You know, like I think a lot of people respected him for at least trying rather than, Marcel just getting pressed against the fence for 3 rounds, which he could have did, but he went for it. Damon comes down to we want to watch Woodley fight. I say yes, that was entertaining. Yeah, I thought so too. A good gatekeeper. I agree, but it's like I think he thinks he's still a contender. So we'll see. I mean, listen, if he is a free agent, he's going to have other options. Bellator is a possibility, but quite frankly, they said that they don't want to sign these older guys now. They said Romero and Johnson were kind of like exceptions to the rule. I'm not sure if they would bring Woodley, but he did fight for Scott Coker in Strikeforce. So that would be an interesting fit for them. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing Woodley fight, for instance, Michael Page. Like, that'd be a pretty interesting fight. At least, he would make Michael do something. Or even Douglas Lima. Michael Page just, by the way, number 1 contender in Bellator. Wow, that just says everything, eh? Like, just, you got to be kidding me, guys.
I just saw that right before the podcast started. It was like,
we'll talk about the end of the show. I want to stick to 260 quickly, okay? Retirement for Stipe, maybe. That was a brutal knockout, man. Those pictures of him, like the leg bent. It was like Crow Cop when he fought Gonzaga. Same thing with the leg bent over Marcel.
Also,
yeah.
Only the Crow Cop was a little bit nastier with the ankle.
Yeah, that was brutal. That was one of the biggest shockers of all time for sure. That $1 Woodley head knockout hedge my Luque parlay Luque-wise. Yeah, I mean, he does have a great iron chain, man. I mean, he's going to get knocked out at some point, though, guys. I guarantee you Luque will get KO'd. I don't think it would be by Chiesa, but I think if he fought someone like Wonderboy again, he could knock him out this time, possibly. Just kind of a weird matchup, right? It's all matchups, guys. All stylistic matchups. I always felt Stipe was overrated. Come on, man. He's not overrated at all. Look at his resume. Don't say that about Stipe. I'm going to pull his resume out because I don't agree with that at all. Listen, I haven't been great at picking his fights over the years. I've picked against him a lot. I'll say that. So I'm with you, but there's no way you can say this guy's overrated. I mean, he is, if anything, he's underrated. Like, look at his resume. It's great. Yeah, you could say these guys are old now, man, but at the time, they were the best guys in the world, and he's beating them. Like, look at this resume. Daniel Cormier twice, Ngannou, JDS, Overeem. I mean, this is incredible. Hunt, he's got a couple losses for sure, but everyone does in the heavyweight division. You can't say he's overrated, man. I think, if anything, Stipe would be underrated, in my opinion. All right, let's do some other fights here. Sean O'Malley, let's talk about Sean's knockout. So, I mean, yeah, I'm sitting there screaming at the TV in the first round, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's so cocky, right? Like, I get that, he ended up getting the finish and everything, but man, that could have been really bad. Like, we've seen guys lose because of mistakes like that, Marcel, So what were your thoughts on that?
Thank you. Finally, somebody who says how it is. He's just cocky, man. And that's why he didn't finish in the first round, because he was like, oh, look at me being cute, walking away and getting the KO with a walk away KO. That was all there was, man. And I haven't said it in public because there are so many O'Malley nut huggers, man, out of nowhere, man. It's just annoying. And he's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, man. He has very technical striking. He looks good at what he does, But Almeida hasn't been looked the same since he fought Cody Garbrandt and got knocked out in 2016. He lost 4 straight now. His last win is against Albert Morales, who has been cut from the UFC 2.5 years ago or something. So, I mean,
yep.
Yeah, it was pretty much an easy pick here I think for Adam, for me as well, to go with O'Malley. He finished in the 3rd round. I don't know what the referee was doing there again, but
that referee, Mark, what happened to this guy? A few months ago, we were like, this guy's the most underrated ref in the game. Now he's becoming the most overrated ref. Like, he's blowing some of these calls, man. Like late stoppages. A lot of late stoppages with this guy. And, geez, someone's going to get hurt. I mean, that was
since he's been on Rogan.
Pardon?
Since he's been on Rogan.
Yeah, it's funny because Joe was actually the one calling him out. He's like, what's this ref doing? Like, he was on his podcast, and now Joe's the last 2 pay-per-views, because he also did that fight between Elon Cruz and Uros Medic, which was like way too late, a way late stoppage. And DC and Rogan were screaming for him to stop the fight. And I get it, guys. The commentator shouldn't say that stuff. I know. I agree with that. Like Dan Hardy, that's probably one of the reasons he did get let go. But I don't really blame Joe because I think that was really late. But yeah, I mean, listen, it was a hand-picked matchup. He got the job done. But it's not like, I mean, I think everyone was picking him here. It was just the thing is, it's like Sean O'Malley's an injury risk. That's the problem with this guy. He could get hurt in any fight. That's the problem. Here's a great question, though. Who would you book to fight Sean O'Malley next? So that was a great question because after the fight, I said Kyler Phillips. This guy sends you a message. He's like, dude, he's his teammate. I was like, damn it, because that would be such a sick fight, right? Or even Casey Kennedy, his other teammate. But the guy who's calling him out now is the guy who just beat his teammate, Dominic Cruz. He wants to fight Sugar Sean. That is a fucking great fight, guys. I want to see that fight, Marcel. What do you think?
Yeah, I had 3 options for him. My first option initially was Song Jae-dong. Just because of the striking, I think that would be a very fun fight. But I want Sean O'Malley's ground game being tested. So my second and third options are second option, Ricky Simone would be a perfect option. I think we can see the ground game of Sean there. Let's maybe he knocks him out. We still don't know, so you don't know. And the third option would be the winner of Cody Stamann against Merab Dvalishvili. Both guys have been calling out Sean O'Malley for some time, so that would be great as well. I don't really see Dominic Cruz, Sean O'Malley thing. I'm not really behind it, but
if
I wouldn't
Dominic
be
wants
mad
to fight,
about
why
it.
not, though? I mean, he wants to fight.
Yeah, I know, but wouldn't be mad about it, but it doesn't interest me, to be honest.
Fair enough. Here's a question for you, by the way. Polish heavyweight. I was thinking about this guy because he had that sick omoplata against Arjun Buller. Do you know about? Didn't he get some trouble or something? Like some?
I don't know. He was. Wasn't he part of a hooligan?
Yeah, hooligans or something, right? Yeah. So is he on the roster? I don't know.
I also don't know. No,
he might be in jail right now, man. He might be with Alonzo Menifield's brother in jail. We'll talk about him in a second. That was funny. I love Alonzo. He's great. Yeah. Stipe only fought title. Kenshiro, I know you're saying it's easy to look back and say that now, bro. I can't stand this line of thinking, though. It's not the right way to look at it, man. When he beat those guys, they were the number one contenders. They were the champions. Yeah, it's easy to look back and be like, oh, Kane and JDS and Overeem, these guys are old, and Hunt. At the time, they were the best guys in the world, Marcel. So to me, I think Stipe's had a great career, but we'll agree to disagree on that, Kenshiro. You're allowed your own opinion, obviously. Sugar Slay shot was nice. It was brutal. I'm happy the Sugar Show got recommissioned for another season. Love to watch him fight. Imagine Mark Smith and Chris Taglioni were the ref for every fight. I think Marcel he'd probably have an aneurysm if that happened. Marcel would be so angry.
Imagine Chris Taglioni and Mark Smith reffing all fights with commentary of DC and Rogan. Man, that would be something.
That'd be fun. Let's go to the other fight here. Miranda Maverick, a girl I told you guys I'm super high on. Love this girl. She's so good. And I love this matchup for her, and she got the job done. I don't agree with the scorecards, by the way, 30-27.
That's horrible.
That's a terrible scorecard. It's clearly 29-28. Robertson obviously won the second round. And as someone who had money on Maverick, I was like, oh, man, it's getting sketchy if she gets taken down again. But she would have won either way. But I like this girl, man, and she's young. She's 23 years old. She's calling out Antonina Shevchenko now. What do you think of that fight?
Perfect fight for her, man. We saw Antonina.
No ground game.
Really striking base, but no ground game. Yeah, so it's perfect fight. Perfect call out. Antonina's in the rankings, so it's a perfect call out.
Awesome. Here, Jose. He says Adam said he's Adam Wieczorek back on Instagram. That's good. You probably won't know more than us. If you're talking to him on Instagram, you would know more than me. Who will Buchecha make his one debut against? I don't know who that is. Who's that?
He was supposed to fight Work for.
Yeah.
It's not happening, so I don't know who he's fighting, man. No idea.
Yeah. Okay, here's another fight. Jamie Malarkey called this one, guys. Underdog upset. I even said in my breakdown, there's a chance he could knock out Woodley because he has no chin. It's really frustrating to be a talented fighter with no chin. It really is, because I guarantee you this guy kills it in training. He's probably a super talented guy in training. And we've seen it in his fights. He's 2-2 now. But he has no chin. It's really sad. There's a guy named Jonathan Goulet, who was a friend of mine who used to fight in the UFC. And the same problem with him, guys. He just had no chin. He was a great fighter, the talented guy, and just had no chin. So it's unfortunate. Marcel, you still there? Can you guys see Marcel? I can't see him. Just let me know in the comments. Something's going on with him. Kenshiro says, why is Khamzat forced to fight? Yeah, I saw that. The whole thing about the blood and the cancer is pretty sad. Let's see. I'm trying to see in the comments here. Okay, mine went through. Is Marcel not here, guys? You would know. I'm going to remove him and then add him back. Marcel, you there? Yeah, he's not there. Why did Young and Malarkey, who were able to there you are, Marcel. Hey, Why did Young and Malarkey? It's okay. We're able to fight, but Riddell and Alex couldn't. Yeah, I don't understand that. I agree with you completely. It's very weird. I don't know what happened there, but anyways, Malarkey's great though, man. I mean, he's pretty underrated. I think. Not great. I shouldn't say great, but he's underrated because, quite frankly, if he had won that fight on the judges' scorecards, he would have been favored to win this fight. And I think, again, worthy the chin is a huge problem. How about this guy, Fabio Sharon, gets tapped over by Alonzo Menifeld to Von Flue choke. I thought I should say a Von Prue choke. Excuse me, get it right. Marcel, he should have got the bonus, don't you think?
I agree, but I disagree with you that it's a Von Prue choke. It's a Von Flue choke, man. Let Jason keep his invention, man. Come on. I mean, imagine you inventing a submission and it's been the Martin choke, and then I do it 3 times and they call it the Dorff choke. That just sucks, man.
Dorff choke actually sounds like a great choke. The Dorff choke, I love that. The Martin choke, no, not so much. That just sounds like a choking. But yeah, I mean, this was such an easy matchup. You guys heard me break it down with AJ last week. This Fabio Sharonka he's just not very good, honestly. He got the call to the UFC, good for him, short notice. But I mean, I expect him maybe to lose both his fights and get cut. I don't think he's that great. I mean, who really holds on to side control like that? What was he thinking, Marcel? The guillotine from side in this level of the game. We're 2021 now, guys. You can't do that. And Alonzo's so physically strong, man. What do you think's next for him? I didn't think about this, but what do you think? Do you think he gets a top 15 guy now?
It's hard to say, man, because Alonzo lost his last 2 fights. So, and a win against Fabio Sharon, who made his debut. It's hard to say. I mean,
oh yeah. By the way, this is a great point. You're right. Short notice guy. I agree with that too. It's just an impressive choke. That's why I would have given it to him. But it's okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'd say give him Gamzatov if he has no issues with his visor. Gamzatov was supposed to fight Devin Clark. Devin Clark is now fighting Kuchelaba, I think. Or let him fight. Yeah, you can't let him fight the winner of Clark Kuchelaba because if Clark wins, he has already fought against Clark. So. Maybe Oleksiejczuk? I don't know.
Sure. You could do that fight too. Yeah. I think that guy should really drop down in weight class. May as well talk about his fight right now. I mean, you guys know I did have money on Bukauskas, but for me, it was a close fight. Could win either way. It seems like most people thought Bukauskas won, so that one kind of hurt a little bit. Who did you score for that fight, Marcel?
I had 29-28 for Bukauskas, and I had some pretty annoying comments on my Twitter, man, with some people were upset that I said something about the coach of Oleksiejczuk telling his fighter he told his fighter 3 times that he won the first round 10-9. Now it's like, dude, why would you say that if it's not clear, And I get some Polish people, I don't know, dude, he is the legend trainer. He knows better than you. After the fight, they come after me like, you see, he had it right. And it's like, listen, guys, I'm not talking shit about the coach. I'm just saying if it's not 100% sure your fighter won 10-9, you shouldn't tell your fighter you won 10-9. You should probably say, like, it's close.
Yeah, I agree. They shouldn't lie to the fighters. I hate when corners do that. Ken Shiro says, don't bet your hopes on – no, I won't. I mean, I still think he's got a lot of holes in his game in the cardio. You guys know I was picking Knight against him too, so – but I thought he looked great. I just thought Menifield looked better than he ever has physically and in the fight. Bubakar, he beats Jared Gooden by decision. I mean, that fight pretty much went exactly what I thought it would. Gooden has no takedown defense. I think they'll probably end up cutting Jared Gooden after this fight. He didn't do anything in the fight. That's the problem, right? He didn't do anything, and also he did make weight. He came on the scale 0.5 pounds, and then he went and made the weight an hour later. I think that might have hurt him in the fight, Marcel, because it looked like he was conserving energy for nothing. Like he didn't do anything in this fight. It was a really weird performance by him. 2 other fights on the card. Omar Morales defeats Shane Young. Again, Shane Young, I don't know what was with him. Wasn't the same guy we've seen. I thought Morales would win, but I just thought we'd have a more game Shane Young. And then the opening fight, you guys know I called this one, Marc-Andre Barrio. Man, so many people on Azatar, I just didn't see it, man. The 3-year layoff. The guy's just not great. No cardio. No cardio, Marcel. He got 5 minutes of cardio. He was gassed after the first round. Ali Abdelaziz was in his corner. It was like, come on, bro, come on. He's yelling at the guy. He's like, come on, wake up, man. Marcel, brutal matchup. How good is this Barrio guy? I think he's pretty good. People, I don't think, give him enough credit. I think he's pretty good. What do you think, Marc-Andre Barrio?
He was obviously better than Azaitar, but
he's got good cardio, man. Good. He's tough. Yeah. Never knocked out. Listen,
I'm just not sold on him.
Fighters that are good, man. We have no Canadians to look forward to anymore, so this is the one guy.
Yeah, I'm just not sold on him, but he did very well. He deserved to win this fight. I had a 10-7 round in the third. Yeah. So, yeah.
That fight should have been by the way. I don't know. What ref was that? I can't remember who it was.
Jaron Villel.
Well, he's another ref who's not very good, honestly. Although I will say this, he is, I believe, a Canadian ref. So when he went in there, I'm like, okay, he's going to give Marc-Andre Barrel the favorable positions in this fight. But
Man,
it was a good fight.
I'm like, if you don't stop that fight 90 seconds before rounds end, don't stop it 4 seconds before rounds end.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's bizarre. Dale says, I'm impressed by a blue card. Yeah, he looked good, man. He looked way better than I thought in the feet. Because I said I was wrong about that. I did say that if it stayed standing, Gooden would win. But, man, he looked really good. No worries at all, man. No worries at all. I think it's Marcel, though. Is it me, guys? Let me know, because if it's me, it could be.
What was it?
You were just saying because there were like a few minutes ago you like went underwater, kind of. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was me or if it was you, but either way. UFC 260, man. What else you want to talk about this card, man? Is that it? Is it in the books now? Are we good? Can we move on?
I think we can.
Let's move on. Okay. If you guys have any more questions about it, throw them in the chat, but let's move on. We got to talk about the Bellator rankings because these came out today. Marcel wants to talk about them, so let's do it. So, Bellator has rankings now. They got the media to do them. There's some media in there that I really respect. John Morgan, Nolan King. These guys are some of the best in the world. There's other guys. I haven't looked at the whole list, actually. But
yeah,
number one, I think it is a huge conflict of interest to be doing rankings because the fights get built off those. Therefore, the pay gets built off. Therefore, you're affecting someone's pay. That's why I've always said no to them. You know, if when the UFC has them, I'm like, this is not something I want to be involved with, you know, because you're literally affecting their pay, the fighters, you know. So to me, there's a conflict of interest there, Marcel. Now, as far as the rankings go, let's pull them out. I'm just going to pull them out. Go to get the website open. Basically,
link?
10. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Do you need a link?
I have the link right now. I'm just opening it.
Oh, you have the link. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'm just going to open it. We got it on DJ Pen. Put it up today. So they have top 10. It's not top 15. That's the first thing to say. Let me just close some of these ads. We have to run ads, guys. We have to get paid. So let's go through them. So pound for pound, I have no problem with Pitbull obviously being number one. I think he's deserving, but I'm not sure about Nemkov at number two, man. Like I don't know. I mean, I know he has the win over Bader, but that's kind of high, it seemed like. And then you have Corey Anderson in the top 10 of your pound for pound. A lot of people were like, what the hell? So
like how? Like seriously, by beating Melvin Manhoff, my countryman, who is way past his prime. No disrespect.
I know. Even Phil Davis in your top 10 of your pound. That seems. This guy is way too low. Why is Douglas Lima number 6? He should be higher. I mean, even Bellator's own guys are underrating him now. That's crazy to me. But again, it's media that's doing it. But I just think that they should have just did top 5. And I'm going to go through the divisions and show you guys why. The women's. I mean, you have Kat Zingano and Leslie Smith in your top 10. I mean, come on. Like if they just did top 5, it wouldn't look so bad. But when you add top 10, Denise Kielholtz, like Liz Carmouche, like people are going to look at that and laugh. And quite frankly, I think Bellator, they have to like realize kind of like what their perception of what it is. You know what I mean? Like I love Bellator, so do you, Marcel. We love MMA, but to someone who's not a hardcore fan, they're looking at these rankings and probably like, who the fuck are these guys? You know? Like,
yeah, can you tell me what those stars after?
The stars, I think, are pound for pound. Actually, I don't know what that isn't. I don't know what that is. I copied that right from the Bellator website, by the way, so I'm not really sure what that's referring to. So I apologize for that, but I just copied literally from their press release. But you got their heavyweight division, you got the light heavyweights. But I mean, like guys, like who's Grant Neal? Like, I mean, I think I've seen him fight once, maybe. I don't really even know who that is. Alex Polizzi, I think I've seen him fight once. No, who's Romero Cotton? Who's Johnny Eblin? Who is that? I don't know who that is. Maybe it's
how is Costello Van Steenis under Fabian Edwards? He just beat him.
Oh my God, you're right. That is wow. That is and then someone sent me a message saying, dude, John Salter's their number one contender. He was a guy that couldn't cut in the UFC. He's actually a good fighter. I'll give him that, John Salter, but the perception is not good, man. If you're fans are laughing at these rankings right now, Marcel. I've seen what people said. They're laughing. Like, who are these guys? Who's Johnny Eblin, Marcel? I don't know who that is. I don't know.
I've heard about him, yeah, but I mean, he's not established or whatever name, you know. And light heavyweight. Remember that Scott Coker said they had the best light heavyweight division in the world.
I know.
Look at it.
Now, to be fair, this is not including the new guys that haven't made their debuts, like Romero, Johnson. So let's be fair to them. We'll give them that credit. So these guys would fall out. But the fact of the matter is, you're looking at it. Also, I mean, like, who are these guys? Like Christian Edwards, I think he's had like 2 fights in Bellator. Like, I don't know about that, man. You look down at some of these rankings, like Michael Page being a number one contender. A lot of people are not happy about that, I don't think. Like, I don't really know how he's ahead of Yaroslav Amosov. I think he's clearly, when you say Marcel, Amosov, number one contender.
Yeah, for sure.
And Paul Daly's not in the rankings, which pissed a lot of people off too, by the way.
Yeah.
People were confused. Like, Jason Jackson should be higher. He's really underrated, coming off a win over Benson Henderson, and yet is ranked below Derek Anderson. How does that make sense? So
No.
I don't know. I don't want to rip the media too much, because I think like a lot of like Nolan King, like he's great. I love Nolan, man. He's great.
Dude, this is nothing personal, man.
Yeah,
But it's just our thing.
you know what I mean, John? These guys are really good at their jobs. I just think it's not them. It's just the fact that Bellator doesn't really have the depth to be doing top 10. Like, I got to be honest, I didn't know who this guy was, Alfie Davis. I had to ask Cole, and he's like, oh, he's a Bellator Europe guy. And yes, it does show that I'm a little bit ignorant towards some of these Bellator guys, but number one, we can't even watch Bellator in Canada on TV, so I'm not able to see all this stuff. And number two, quite frankly, Bellator, I mean, I like Bellator, but man, the fact of the matter is, guys, it's just showing the lack of depth when you have fighters like that. People don't even, guys who cover the sport for a living, Marcel. Like, Marcel, who's this guy, Franz Mlabo? And
yeah, that's an SBG guy.
Who's Jorno Lugo? Who's that?
I've heard about it.
Thank
For
you.
many names I've heard about, but
thank you.
But I mean, you know what annoys me as a Dutch guy is that Liz Carmouche is above Denise Kielholz in the rankings. I mean, Kielholz has like 3 or 4 wins lately, all by finish against solid competition. Carmouche has 1 win against Diana Bennett.
Yeah,
and they put her above her. I also Valerie Loreda, man, in the top 10. Like, what the hell? She's 3-0. But where did she beat?
Who's Mandy Bohm? I don't even know who that is.
She's also German, Mandy Bohm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, we don't really get the European events. Like, I do sound a little bit ignorant, guys. I get it, especially for a guy that covers the sport. But that's not.
I disagree.
Great. Yeah,
I disagree that you sound ignorant. Absolutely not, man.
I appreciate.
I mean, yeah, there are some. Listen, Bellator hasn't have the depth that the UFC has. You know. That's why they also didn't do a top 15. They're like, oh, let's do a top 10. But the top 5 would have been a lot better. Yeah.
Because then you wouldn't have someone like, look, it would stop right there and they'd be okay. You know, like even this division's really good. Their bantamweight division's very good. I will give them that. And the same with their featherweights. Mads Burnell is very underrated, by the way. Number 10. This JJ Wilson guy should not be ranked above Mads Burnell. I'll tell you that right now.
But tell me an organization which don't have a good bantamweight division. It's like one of the best divisions.
They'll get some comments here. Personally, I like the rankings. Always the ability promotions corrupt them, but I like the structure lens divisions. Yeah, for sure. Austin Vanderford, number 3 in the world. Wow. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Used to work with Alfie Davis and Marvin Tory in London shop. No way. That's awesome. Alfie's very nice. I was knowing Marvin and was a bit scared for my life. That's awesome. For sure. Like I said, after I saw the rankings, I obviously looked at his Tapology. I see he's 4-0 in Bellator on the Bellator European Series cards. I don't watch those cards, though. I'll be completely honest. I'm not able to, you know. So there's only so much time in the day, guys. I work about 60 to 70 hours a week, maybe 80 hours a week sometimes, literally. So I can't watch it all, you know. And unfortunately, especially when Marcel, they make it so hard for us to watch, you know.
Same. We also don't have a broadcast deal. We have to wait till the day after.
Work on that. They told us last year we're going to get a better broadcast deal in Canada. Nothing, Marcel. So yeah, so there's ways to obviously find it on the internet, guys. But quite frankly, every Saturday night I watch the UFC with my fiance. Every Friday night I don't think I can watch with Bellator with her. Sometimes she'll let me, but she's like, hey, you got to spend some time with me too, right? You got to pick and choose a little bit too, guys, you know? I just think when Bellator, you know, you look at some of these top 10s, it's like, it doesn't get you too excited, Marcel. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah,
I like Bellator. I don't want to bash them too much, but it doesn't seem like the big leagues that much. You know what I mean? Like it seems like a minor league a little bit. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I agree. You have here Amanda Bell, 7-7. She's number 8 in the world at featherweight. I mean, it's almost like glory rankings, man, where they had girls were like 0-3 in glory, and they had them ranked number 9. I mean, if you don't have the fighters to rank, go with the top 5. Even go with the top 6 or top 7. You know, I don't care.
I think top 5 is better. Yeah, I'm not against the rankings in general, having them. Like, I understand that's just something promotions do, but I just don't think they have the depth to do top 10. I really don't.
And they have a lot of capable people in it. They have Nolan King. They have John Morgan. They have another guy from Junkie. They got Joe McDonough, I think. They have Shaquille Majuriev in it. They have one person in it I don't respect, so I'm going to give the name. But they have a lot of they have a lot of persons, people in it that I respect and I think are really good. So I mean.
Yeah, I don't think they did I think they're decent. I don't think they're terrible. I just, again, it's not that the rankings did a bad job. It's just there's just not enough depth to be doing top 10 in Bellator right now. Maybe next year, maybe in 2 years, but right now I don't see it, And sure, I questioned Bellator a lot for recruiting old UFC drops. Scott Coker made Bellator profitable. I thought they were losing money, but if you're saying they're making it, that's good. Austin Manford. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in those videos with her. Not that I've been on there, but actually I saw someone that, I don't know if that's true because there's a guy on YouTube. James sent me the link. My boy James Lynch. The guy's like, I subscribed to Paige Van Zant's. I think he subscribed to it, and she's not naked on it actually. So I think you're wrong, Kenshiro. She's actually not. Daniel Edwards, Bellator needs to work on their YouTube. Dude, I agree completely with this too. Like I asked Cole today, I was like, hey Cole, does Bellator have a fight pass? They don't have a fight pass, right? Like, is there a way to watch little fights aside from their YouTube channel? No. That's a problem too, man. I'd like for them to be more on the ball when it comes to that kind of thing, like social media, YouTube, and just getting like those channels. I think they have an app, but it's not like I've used it. Anyways, listen, obviously we can talk about the rankings till the cow come home, but let's go to talk about some fights quickly, Marcel, on your page. There's a few fight announcements, and we'll get out of here, okay?
Yeah, sure.
We've got less than 10 minutes, guys. If you guys want to ask any questions, come in there.
Not too many fight announcements, I think.
No, just a few. I have 3 right now. So this fight, I'm glad they booked this fight because Lauren Murphy did not deserve a title shot whatsoever. I'm not sure why she thought she deserved a title shot. Not that I have a problem with her as a fighter. I think she's pretty good, but she just beat this girl, Lilia Shakarova, never fought in the UFC, Marcel, and she wanted a title shot off that. Come on. No way.
It's not her. It's honestly not her fault, right? She was supposed to fight Cynthia Calvillo, and Calvillo had COVID, so she had to pull out.
Yeah.
And Murphy wanted to stay active. She asked for a replacement, so you can't really blame her on that, man. I think, but I mean, if she wins this one, she will probably get a title.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the UFC is saying the same thing I did, and it's like that's not a good enough win. You have to fight one more time. And this is a tough fight, man. I mean, JoJo is definitely solid, and she looked good in her last fight. Looked really good. So. Yeah, I like
perfect.
Yeah, it's a good matchup. Winner probably title shot.
You know why it's perfect? Because Murphy wants a title shot, and Calderwood was supposed to get the title shot before COVID hit. Yeah, and she lost it to Maya. So it's perfect. The winner of this one gets the title shot.
I agree. Let's just a couple more. Omar Akhmedov, Brad Tavares. This is a really good fight. It's probably going to take place against the fence if I had to guess. They're just going to push each other against the cage for 3 rounds if I had to guess, Marcel. That's kind of how Brad Tavares fights and kind of how Omari fights, kind of gritty fights. I don't really have a strong lean here. I got to be honest. What are you thinking?
Say, man, this is that middleweight top 10, top 15 match that can beat each other by split decision, either split or unanimous decision. So
written all over it, eh? This one,
yeah.
Yeah, they're both good fighters for sure. And then this is the last one: Tony Gravely, Anthony Burchak. Gravely's supposed to fight Nate Manis, but the fight was scratched. I don't know if Nate's going to fight Yanez or if he's going to fight Davey Grant, or now he's talking about Randy Costa. So any of those fighters. Got a few more minutes, guys. Actually, I got to get out of here. Maybe we'll just end it quickly today. Like 5 minutes quickly. I got to go to the bathroom actually. So get this last comment from Marcus. Bellator needs leadership shot with Coker. Coker at gold mine with Strikeforce. I agree with that too. Yeah, I think we're going to end it early, guys. I got to go to the bathroom. So. Yeah, I know. Hey, you did to me last week, Marcel. Was like, as I'm holding it, he was like, you could see it in Marcel's face. He was like, and then I'm like, hey, Marcel, you want to talk a few minutes? He's like, no, I got to go to the bathroom. So that's what happens on the live stream. I got to end it 5 minutes early. No big deal. But I will be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. with you, Marcel. You're going to be back with me, 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, guys. This is the last question. The last one for the day. Thoughts on Paddy Pimblett? Great signing. Love it. Great signing, man. This guy is an exciting fighter. Big name in Europe. I don't know who he's going to fight. Someone lower ranked at one, not someone ranked in the top 15 at 155. Someone in the bottom. Someone who has 1 or 2 fights in the UFC. He's only 26 years old. He's a young guy. Any thoughts on that before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, the 5th Beatle. Let's see.
I know. Someone sent me a message and was like, yo, this guy looks like a surfer. He doesn't look like a fighter. And someone was like, dude, Uriah Faber looks like a surfer and was the champion.
Yeah.
So don't judge him off his looks. But, yeah. All right, Marcel, plug your stuff. Let's get out of here, man.
Big Marcel24 on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow MMADNA.nl on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
There you go. You guys can follow me on Twitter at MMADamMartin. Podcast, MMAOddsbreaker.com. It's on our YouTube channel, as you guys know. And then all the links there for the other places you can find it are there as well underneath in the description. I'm also at bjpen.com. Elite Fantasy, Elite Betting had a great weekend. I won a couple units, so it was awesome. What else? My MMA news, MMA ratings, got a bunch of places, man. And yeah, be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern with Mr. Marcel. We'll talk about anything you guys want, and we'll talk about MMA.